Hello, this is Steve Stierwalt. It's been a while since we've done a podcast. Many things are happening, but I wanted to do a quick update on some of the things going on. Tuesday, December 13th, at our quarterly board meeting, we had a very good board meeting. I just want to touch on just a very few highlights. One of the things that, as we all know, with the lack of funds, the not being funded for 20 months by the state of Illinois, we had an interesting a report from Cheryl on NRCS's contribution agreements and stuff like that, and I didn't realize over the last year how much that contribution has added up to, but it's added up to $2.5, almost $2.6 million that NRCS has made available to districts. Obviously, we were doing the work to earn that money, but in this situation we were in, this is NRCS having their hand out, as Ivan's put it, has been a big deal to help us get by. So I want to thank them again. The GAT agreements are completed and turned in. I had a chance to talk with Warren Ghosh a little bit about what's going on with those and when money might be available. Nobody seems to know exactly how long it's going to be before money's available, but one particular item that has been swirling around, and quite frankly I didn't know the answer to, was, does the money in this temporary budget agreement have to be out to the districts before the end of the year? And Warren was very specific about that when I had a chance to visit with him on that there's different pots of money in the state budget. And in the particular pot of money that the money for districts in this temporary grant agreement is actually goes for the whole fiscal year, not the calendar year. So in this particular case, the money that is earmarked for districts does not have to be out the door from the governor's office. Supposedly we're not in danger of losing that money if it's not out by the end of the year. So I wanted to give you the latest information on that. Whether that changes, obviously I don't know, but at this point that money should still be available whenever it gets through its process. But as far as I know, everything that we as districts need to have done is done. We did get guidance on the money that is being split up by land use councils. It was too bad we didn't get guidance a lot sooner on how to make out those to do the division between land use councils. So I apologize for not being able to give you good information on that. But there is better information on that now, and I think the Department of Ag is getting a letter out to all the districts about that. So I apologize for the fact of needing to go back and many land use councilors are going to need to revisit their plan, but I would encourage you to get that done again whenever you can. But I do apologize for that. Another thing that was talked about quite a bit at our quarterly board meeting was summer conference. And as we're looking towards the strategic plan and the like that, one of the things that we're trying to identify in the strategic planning process is the need for training, and not just the need for training for our employees, but need for updated information and training for our directors also. As you maybe heard me talk about before, that in my opinion at least, one of the big strengths of districts is the fact that we have 5 locally elected individuals that do set directions for districts, and so that's an important thing that nobody really else has right now, is that ability to help direct conservation efforts to local areas. But that that advantage is also a two-sided coin in the way I look at it. We have that advantage of being able to set direction, but the other side of that coin is it's so important that directors and staff really engage in setting direction for their district and looking at resource concerns, as we move forward, it's going to be critical for individual districts' success that they really take that role seriously. One of the things that we're looking at for summer conference is the opportunity to do some training, and the NRCS is making available training for writing nutrient management plans at summer conference. So that will involve some online training before that, but it's a great opportunity. It looks to me like the NRCS is actually talking about or is planning to send 15 of their own people to this training, and it'll be a very significant training, and I hope that we have the opportunity for a lot of staff to take advantage of that. It'll be a great opportunity, and we're looking at trying to find ways to where we can offer stipends so that it makes it more doable for staff to get to training like this. So that's on our to-do list, and we hope to be able to find a way to do that. And at the board meeting also, we formed a new nutrient loss reduction strategy committee that will be meeting on a more regular basis. And we're hoping to maybe even split that up into more area specifics, like in the nitrate drained areas, maybe meeting separate from the phosphate areas. Our partners out there are looking for, there's a lot of people looking for leadership on this nutrient loss reduction, and it's in my opinion out there for us to take if we decide that that's the direction we want to go. So that'll be something we'll want to discuss more in the future. Strategic plan. I hope everyone isn't getting tired of hearing about this already, but it has been a big job just to get to this point. We've raised funds so that there wouldn't be any money that would come out of money that would be ordinarily going to districts or to the state association. We've raised $7,500 from Growmark, $5,000 from the Council on Best Management Practices, $5,000 from the Illinois Farm Bureau, $5,000 from corn growers, and we have a good chance of $5,000 from the Soybean Association, and we have a grant application to NREC that we should know soon. So it looks like we'll have enough money to do this strategic plan. So at the December quarterly board, we did hire Becky Doyle to be our facilitator. Becky, a little over a year ago, working with the company Context, completed a strategic plan for the Iowa Department of Agriculture. Our board was very impressed with that plan, and we're hoping that she can bring that experience in that planning effort to our effort. Work is beginning right away. Our first step is to do a gaps analysis on every district in the state. Now, a gaps analysis, the idea of a gaps analysis is actually to determine strengths and weaknesses of all of our districts. And for this to be successful, it's going to take the input of every district to be involved with this and do the best job we can on this. When I first started proposing the idea of doing a strategic plan, my thought was a strategic plan for the state association. But after getting into it, it became clear that what was needed was not a plan for the state association necessarily, but a plan to allow 97 districts to be successful in the future. And so that really changed how we look at this planning process. So it is so important that every district, give us your thoughts on where you think we should be going and where you are at this step, so that we understand where our capacities are and where we need to build capacities. This is going to be a big job, and it's going to take a while, but I think it's a necessary step for us as we move into the future. Our partners are investing in this process because they see the need for districts. And in my opinion, the governor's office is kind of giving us an opportunity to show that we can almost reevaluate how we're doing things and see if there are better ways to provide the service that was given to us, the charge that was actually given to us by the state of Illinois back on July 9th, 1937. That's for the conservation of soil resources, water resources, and the prevention of soil erosion. So that charge was given to us, and as we look forward to this planning process, we're going to see if we can find even better ways to get that job done. Boots on the ground. What does that mean? Some of the land use councils and the board meetings that I've had a chance to go to, many of you have heard me talk about, in my perception, that we need a plan for agriculture on how to accomplish this nutrient loss reduction strategy. As I've had the excuse, the opportunity, whatever you want to call it, to go to a lot of meetings, there's a lot of different groups that are meeting and talking about nutrient loss. But my impression has been that a lot of these things are happening basically at 30,000 feet. They're talking about plans and goals but not really any concrete how we get it done on the ground discussion. There's a few groups that are out there that are doing very good work getting things done on the ground. Of course, that's one of them is soil and water conservation districts. But there's several groups out there that are actually doing things on the ground. And it seemed to me what was missing is a plan of not telling any one group what to do, but how do you coordinate? How do we coordinate the efforts that are going on right now, and also look for gaps? What is it we're not getting done? And so with that thought in mind, was able to put together a meeting on December 20th. Mark Gebhardt's at Illinois Farm Bureau was willing to host the meeting, and Tom Byers and I were there, and with Mark Gebhardt and Lauren Lurkin of Farm Bureau, John Reefstack from Growmark, Rod Weisenderl and Carolyn Wade from Corn Growers, Julie Armstrong from NREC, Ivan Dozier, NRCS, Gene Payne from Fertilizer and Chemical. And these, in my opinion at least, are the main groups that are actually getting work done on the ground right now. So we kind of ask people to bring, you might say, to the table what it is they're doing right now, and then we kind of look for gaps. And my hope coming out of this meeting was that we'd have a little better coordinated effort as far as what's going on in the nutrient loss effort. But beyond that, in addition to that we would come out of there that we would actually have a suggestion as far as to we and soil and water conservation districts on what these groups agree, shall we say, is the role of districts as we move forward. What is our part of this overall plan? We didn't get as far in this one meeting as I was hoped to get to, and I'm sure it was asking too much, thinking you coming out with a plan, but we did. It was a very useful meeting where we came out with, for me at least, for us in districts, some suggestion from our partners out there on how they think that we could fit into this plan. And one of the big things that came out of this, in my opinion, was the agreement. I don't know if the agreement is the right word, but the strong indication that locally led conservation was the way that we're going to really get this done in the future. There was real buy-in in that groups, and whether it be Soil and Water, and that actually look at what the resource concerns are in their local area, and then the state organizations then move towards bringing resources to bear to help solve those concerns. So there was broad agreement, shall we say, that is going to be a very important part of trying to get this nutrient loss thing established. And there's a lot of talk about collecting the research that is being done by IFCA and the Illinois Fertilizer and Chemical and the universities. We need to have a good way of actually peer reviewing some of that research, and then we need to develop a better delivery mechanism to get the newest information, let's just say on cover crops. What's the newest information on cover crops out to our people who are making recommendations to farmers and other educators out there, trying to get that good stuff used. And another thing that Ivan Dozier made very clear was the very important role that districts play in delivering the NRCS programs. Now, we as district people understand that, but I would say there was pretty broad lack of understanding that NRCS is there to help, but their role is not to suggest, shall we say. So we as districts, our role, and as he kind of very well put it more eloquently than I, is to look at the resource concerns and decide what the highest priorities are, and then is when NRCS has the opportunity to, you might say, step in and help with programs to answer those concerns. But it doesn't happen without the districts and identifying those resource concerns. So we need to keep that in mind. And again, we know this, but our partners, I think, are more aware of it now, and I think that was a very good thing, quite frankly. So it was a good meeting, and I think we'll probably meet again in 6 months and reevaluate where we are in this. Well, as the slide says, thank you. It's been a very difficult 20 months with no funding. We've lost so many great employees and good friends through this process that it's just been tough. But I want to thank everyone for the hard work that they have done again over this 20 months. And although there are no guarantees by any means, I do appreciate the fact that the meetings that I've gone to, that staff and directors are, in my opinion, we've kind of gotten off of our heels, and we're back up on our toes and moving forward. And it's so important for our organization to show that side as we talk to our partners and we talk to legislators, that we're not, back on our heels and about to collapse. We are on our toes, and we know that the things that districts do are going to be critical, not only nutrient loss, but the other resource concerns out there. And so I want to, again, thank everyone for their work, and I wished I could tell you that we it wasn't going to be difficult to keep moving forward. It is still going to be difficult, but I do think that there is a path for us that out there where we can be successful. So I wish everyone, and I think this is not going to get to after Christmas, but have a happy New Year, and thank you again for everything you do for conservation.